Your bad spending habits are the reason you are a wage slave. That's the truth. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing a reaction breakdown to a recent guest on the Diary of a CEO podcast. I recommend you watch the full podcast, which I will link in the description. His name is Morgan Housel, and he hits the nail on the head. Most people are stuck in a job that they do not like, serving someone else purely because they have bad spending habits. And I've been beating this drum, banging my head against the wall, trying to say to all of you, live like a minimalist. Just wear normal clothes. Don't spend money on financing a car and looking rich, but having no money in the bank. And this is the problem with the society that we live in. We are watching social media. We want what everyone else has got. We want the title. We want the fancy pay packet, the salary, so that we can brag about it, and it keeps you trapped. So look, let's jump straight into it. I'm going to pause it as and when I feel that I can add something and do a bit of a breakdown, but let's just get straight into it.
Very much feel like most of us are trapped in the matrix.
Yeah.
We're trapped in this status game, competing against each other, not searching for happiness. What is the hack here? How do I get out of the matrix, and what does that look like?
I think if there is a formula that I lay out in the book, and I make the point that there's no formula for how to spend money. But if I did try to make a formula for a pretty good life, and this extends way outside of money, the formula for a pretty good life is independence plus purpose. If you want to say how can I be a happy person? You need to be independent. You need to be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it with. And you need some kind of purpose that is higher than yourself. And that could be a million different things. It could be friends.
Okay, I absolutely love that. That is what life is about. Doing what you want, when you want, with who you want. You do not get that in a job. Now, what I do want to quickly do is just bring up on screen right now, the cycle of wage slavery. It's going to pop up now. I just want to quickly run through this. Most of you are stuck in this cycle. I'm not going to read it all out, but just take a look of it. And you can break out of it, but you need to lower your expectations of what you want and what you think is the right thing to have. The big fancy house, the car, you want this, you want that. And this is all holding you back and keeping you in the matrix, the system, the 9 to 5. If you can understand what you truly want from life, independence and purpose is a great example, as he's going to continue talking about, then you can start working towards freedom. But so many of you are stuck on this cycle of the wage slavery.
Friends, it could be family, it could be career, it could be religion, whatever it might be. I think it is very difficult to imagine anyone having a good life without those two things. If your entire life and your schedule is dictated by somebody else, of you have to go to this job that you don't like, you have to have a long commute that you don't like, you have to do this when you don't want to do it, it's hard to be happy. And if you don't have any kind of purpose that you're doing it for, it's difficult to be happy. And so the idea that, to me, the best thing to spend money on is independence. And I view it as purchasing. I don't view it as saving money. I view it as purchasing independence. That's how I view it. I feel like I'm buying independence when I save.
Okay, let's just pause it there. I'm a big saver, and I always have been. And people will say, oh, well, that's boring. You only live once. But it's a form of buying independence. I've been saving from about the age of 19 years old. I've not been into flashy things. I've not been into clothes. I'm sitting here in cheap clothes in terms of they're not expensive. They're just normal. I wear the same stuff every day. I love saving. I love investing. And what it's done is, as a 33-year-old now, I've got a good amount of cash in the bank. I've invested a huge amount. I've been able to create my own sustainability because I haven't kept up with what society wanted me to do and spend money on. And as a result, I'm not in a job. And I have, security, independence, and also I have purpose because I'm building my own thing. And he just touched on there. People are unhappy in jobs that they're commuting to day in, day out, because they're stuck in this cycle. And it's all because every time they get a salary increase, their living expenses go up to the salary. Their partner spends more. They get a bigger mortgage. They get a nicer car because they want to look the part. They get the title, so they feel they need to be flashy. And all of this stuff, these are all lies that society has told you so that you become a consumer, a spender, you take out more debt. Come on, we got to wake up and realize that life isn't about impressing everyone else, right? And that's where this guy's going with it.
And so to me, the biggest thing that I spend my money on, and this sounds weird, but is saving. And I view that as buying independence. I view that as every dollar that I save is a little bit more independent than I was before. It's a little bit of my future that I now own and control. And if you're listening to this and you're like, look, I'm not financially independent. I have no possibility of being financially independent. Independence exists on a spectrum. And literally every dollar that you save is a little bit more independent than you were before. If you have $100 in the bank in savings, that can make it so that if you were to lose your job, you have a little bit more flexibility for rent or groceries or whatever it might be that you didn't before. $1,000, $10,000, any amount that you have is a little bit more independent than you were before.
And I just want to jump in here and say, start saving. It really irritates me when I talk to other people about saving and I say, how much could you save per week? Or they say, how much should I be saving? And I say, well, as much as you can. And they say, well, I could only really save £2. And I'm like, great, every week save £2. And they're like, well, it's not a lot though. What's the point? And it's like, but you're not even saving that amount to begin with. You really want to be building an emergency fund because again, it's going to give you that independence, that comfort. Why do most people ask me, Aaron, how do I deal with and overcome a bully? Well, they ask these questions, as I've said before, they don't have any money to feel comfortable where they can take a step back, actually analyze the situation and go, hang on a minute. Why should I be putting up with a bully? Why should I be disrespected in the workplace when I'm a human being? I bleed the same. I breathe, I walk the same as the person who's disrespecting me, but they just have a fancy title. The reason most people suffer with mental health issues is because they don't have their finances in order. People who feel that they are trapped and they are constantly in survival mode are the ones who have depression, loss of identity, because they don't have any money to step back and go, do not talk to me like that. And then when the manager's like, oh, you got a backbone, and it's like, yeah, because I've got money in the bank and I do not need to keep it. I do not need to stay in this job, but I'm not going to be spoken to like that. Saving is a good thing. Start saving. This whole, don't keep money in the bank is rubbish. I keep money in the bank. Come on.
And so when you view one of the cores of living a good life is independence, and any amount of saving money will buy you independence. I think that's a powerful observation for people. And then the purpose part is going to be different for everyone. For me right now in my life, it's being a good father. That's what I want my identity to be. That's my overarching goal in life, is to be a good dad. I want to sacrifice for my kids. I want to, loyalty to people who deserve your loyalty is a wonderful thing. Loyalty to people who don't deserve your loyalty sucks. And so if you're giving your loyalty to a company that doesn't respect you, that sucks. That's terrible. Loyalty to people who deserve it is a very fulfilling thing. So my kids deserve my loyalty.
How did they earn that?
Loyalty to a company. This one blows my mind, where people are so indoctrinated and they are so sucked into the 9-to-5 world, the sheep mentality that they're like, well, I need to be loyal to my employer. If you were to be fired, they'll let you go. But people feel that they need to be loyal to work notices, notice periods. I had this conversation most recently with someone who's quit their job, and I'm like, why are you working your notice period? Have you got money in the bank? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, why are you working the 2 to 4 weeks? And they're like, oh, well, because it's the right thing to do. But if they were to get rid of you, they wouldn't give you notice. They'd just get rid of you. And just, that's it. The loyalty, be loyal to the people who love you, your family. This is the thing, the harsh reality, which some of you just don't want to hear. And I get pushback on, not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone wants to build a business. Leave people alone who like their job. And all these kind of messages and comments come from people who are insecure. The fact that I'm addressing that all of you who are watching me, and my videos are for those of you, again, who have that burning desire to be an entrepreneur, someone who wants purpose and fulfillment and to live life by design, not one that's assigned to you, is that, don't be loyal to a company when they would replace you in 72 hours. I mean, it's mad, right? Choose a side, and it should always be your loved ones, not an employer. I mean, it's mad to think how people are so obsessed with serving a company for 40, 45 years, and to show for it, what do you have? Freedom? Have you experienced life? I mean, it's mad. But anyway, let's carry on listening.
And that loyalty.
Just by being my kids. And there's some days where I feel like they don't appreciate it. But I think that tends to be true. People get into problems when they are loyal to people or organizations or political affiliations who don't deserve the loyalty. That's when it gets dangerous.
And on this earlier point, you were talking about saving, and that your favorite form of spending is saving.
Yeah.
Someone's listening now. How much money do you think they should, at a minimum, have saved?
If you try to get technical about it, I would say, what are the odds that at some point in your life, you're going to lose your job and not be able to find another job for 6 months? The odds are not bad that will happen to you at some point. Not very comfortable to think about. Maybe it's already happened to you already, but the odds that at some point that will happen are pretty good. And therefore, if you were to say, look, a good measure of some level of higher end independence, not a low level of independence, but like a medium level of independence is I could keep myself going for 6 months. Now, for a lot of people, that's a daunting task, and it's okay. You're probably not going to achieve that when you're 18. It's going to take some savings to get there. But that is a level at which you can exhale to a degree that most people have never been able to do before.
6 months, I would agree with that. I would always say you want to aim for that 6 to 12 month period of having enough savings that you can buy yourself time. Because again, we can only spend time. We can't actually invest it. We can't save it. So if you are, potentially keeping your options open, you need a fallback of cash. If you don't want to be disrespected and you want to hold yourself and you want to be authentic, to who you are and not put up with all the BS, you're going to need money just in case you need to get another job. Because 9 times out of 10, most of you are going to go through 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 jobs in your lifetime. The problem of not having money and going out each weekend and, spending it, you only live once, is that you are a slave to the wage because you need that income. Which means you're going to backstab, which means you're going to go into survival mode. You'll talk behind people's backs. Because when I was in my 9 to 5, I did save all the time and I invested heavily, but also I was very proactive in making my own money. So I was bringing in new streams of income plus my salary. So I was very authentic in the person that I was. I wasn't looking to tread over people. I was never looking to throw anyone under the bus because I didn't need to. I didn't feel the need that I needed to be loyal and devote my time and energy into this company. I was just using my employer to fund my dreams. I'm not saying anything that we don't already know. I'm just trying to wake you up and, try and steer you towards smarter financial decisions. And, if you're not financially literate and you don't know how to save or what you should be saving or what investments you could make or how to make new income, the honest answer is learn. The other thing is we have all this information at our fingertips. You can learn how to do everything and anything. And I'll say this again, you could replace your income. Okay, so now I just want to bring a quick chart up on the screen, which will pop up 5 reasons, again, you may be a wage slave, right? Number 1 is your mindset. We need to change our outlook on life and also adapt, pivot, and adopt the new ways of working, like the online world. Move with the times. You don't need to work a job, a traditional 9 to 5. You need income and you can make your own, right? So typically people remain in a job and they feel trapped because they think small, they chase security over freedom, although that doesn't exist in a job, and they get comfort and it feels safer than growth, okay? Number 2 is distraction. Most people are so distracted in their own life, they don't do anything for themselves. They are a bystander rather than a builder, right? Number 3, bad financial habits. Keeping up with the Joneses and pretending to look rich rather than actually being rich and wealthy is one of the biggest distractions, killers, holdbacks for most people. Everyone likes to look the part, but they haven't got a pot to pee in, right? Number 4, toxic social circle who want to pull you down and they don't want to see you thrive. People can be like rubber bands. They can keep wrapping around you and they don't want you to get away, because they don't want to feel that they haven't done anything with their life. So they don't want to see you successful, which is why, again, coworkers are not people that you should tell your dreams to. Again, there's a great saying, right, is that if you're building things and you've got goals and dreams, a lion doesn't roar before the hunt. A lion roars after the kill. Keep your goals and dreams silent until it's happened. Don't tell people about your dreams and goals, do it after and let them see the results. And then number 5 is a lack of education. Adding new strings to your bow. Not learning new skill sets, not learning about AI, not learning about building a personal brand, not learning about the online world. All of this is going to be a massive effect on where you go and what you do in life. And if you have to serve someone else for the next 45 years of your life, if you choose not to learn and move with the times, and the landscape of business has changed. Get good with money, save and invest wisely. Live like a minimalist. Understand your why and purpose on this earth. What do you want to do? What values and standards do you live by? Do you want to travel the world with your family on your terms? Do you want to be able to do the school run, the pickup, the drop off? Do you want to go to the cafe when everyone else is rushing going to work? Or do you want to be like one of these other sheep, the zombies I call them, that get on the tube in London, they get off at London Bridge and 9 a.m. they're rushing across in a 3-piece suit, 5 p.m. they're rushing back. You go to London Bridge at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and just witness what is happening. The reality of the rat race is so real. So look, again, this video is just to wake you up, and that is my goal, and I will keep doing this. My God, I'm going to keep bashing and beating this drum until more of you wake up and I help push some of you to go start that first business, go start that first personal brand, because it's possible. It's not about making £10,000 a month. It's about just replacing your salary, being smart, living within your means. Living on less and invest the rest. Stop keeping up with everyone else and looking at what everyone else has and then wanting that. You're wasting time and you have no idea how someone else obtained the things that they have. You haven't got a clue. So what's the point in wasting time looking at them? Anyway, I do hope this video just gave you a bit of a kickstart. Honestly, go watch the full podcast. I just wanted to break down a little segment because he touches on some fantastic things there, and the actual podcast is brilliant. And you should come away thinking, yeah, I could probably do this if I just get a little bit, together with my finances. I start making some more calculated decisions. I could probably break free, and you can. Do let me know what you liked in the comment section. Please do hit like and subscribe if you haven't. And until the next video, my good people, I'll see you all soon.